Come on, it's lovely when the folks say we're together with you.
Are you making anything? Are you making anything for Thanksgiving?
Hi everyone, it's Amanda. Today I'm going to be discussing with you books that I think should have been on the Goodreads Choice Awards if it were up to me. So this is a collaboration with a lot of romance girlies here on BookTube. So I'll link all their channels down below and their videos as they pop in. I'm super excited to be part of this. So thank you for including me. I am excited. I don't have as many books as they will. I think they're doing 20 books that should have been on the list. So if you want some romance book recommendations, be sure to check out their videos as well. But I have like 10 because I haven't read as many 2022 releases as I wanted to this year. But regardless, I have some good recs, so stay tuned. Be sure to like and subscribe down below for more bookish content from me. I'd love to have you here, and let's just get into it. So first, of course, we have June 1st by Jennifer Hartman. This book is probably going to be my #1 favorite book of 2022 because it's so full of heart. The romance is so believable, and it also has that taboo element. So let me just give you the rundown. This book follows Brant. He is 6 years old when the book starts, so we get to follow him throughout his whole life, and that really is important to the story because that's how you really feel for his character and understand all the tragedies that happened to him are so heartbreaking because of the fact that you know this character since he was 6 and since his first tragedy. It starts off with his mom telling him that they're going to get out of this abusive household because his dad had been abusing his mom, but she's a little too late and she ends up being murdered. So that's the first tragedy. I don't want to give away too much with what happens with that and stuff. So then we get to see him get adopted into this family next door that had actually had a kid named June the same day that his mom died. So that's kind of where the title comes in because we have June and she is the love interest. We have a 6-year age gap. We also have a foster sibling, and you get to watch them grow up together. He's super protective of her at first, and then as they grow up, there's a little bit more romance going on. It was so beautiful, okay? It was just 10 out of 10. Next up, we have some fake dating trope happening. So I chose The Blind Side by Candy Steiner as one of the fake dating trope recs because I feel like there's at least a couple on the Goodreads Choice Awards right now that have fake dating, but I feel like The Blind Side by Candy Steiner was a great fake dating romance. It was new adult. It had the football element, so you got that sports romance aspect, and you also just had a really fun read. So this one follows Clay. He's like a star football player, and he'd just been broken up with by his girlfriend that he thought he was going to be with forever. And then we have the public relations girly. She is like not into Clay at all. She actually wants this guy that's a guitarist at this local coffee shop. So Clay ends up realizing that she has interest in this guy, and then he wants to make his ex-girlfriend jealous, so they strike up a deal that they're going to fake date in order to make these things happen. He's gonna help her seduce a man, and then she's going to make the other girl jealous. So it ends up being even more than that, and there's a bunch more tropes in this book that are really fun, and I rated this one 5 stars. Then we have Flawless by Elsie Silver. This one, I'm sorry. I'm really upset that I didn't see an Elsie Silver on the Goodreads Choice Awards because I feel like they are popular and they've gained traction, and I'm just shocked that Heartless isn't on there because Flawless I rated 4 stars, so I can understand maybe that one not being on there in my head. But then Heartless was like literally perfection. It was just so good. So let's talk about Flawless. Flawless is the first book in the Chestnut Springs series that she has going on. And this series is just immaculate. Like, I didn't even know that I would like small town romance until I picked up this book. So this one follows a bull rider who loses a bunch of sponsorships because he says something about not liking milk, which is like part of his deals. That's how it starts out. You're like, what is this book about? But then it just sucks you in. So we also follow this girl who is under her dad in this PR firm, and she has to babysit him and ends up going to his ranch to make sure that he's doing what he needs to do to get these sponsorships back, / keep the ones that he has already. So he's kind of like, I don't want anything to do with this girl. She's kind of like, oh my God, I guess I have to do this. So forced proximity is what's happening here. So that one's really fun. Not to mention Steamy. steamy. It is steamy, but also has a lot of heart and a lot of romance build up. It was more like dislike to lovers, but the next one, Heartless, was even better. We follow the best friend of Summer, who is the main character in the first book. Willa is the best. I think she's a redhead, which we love to see. She had the redhead sass on her and it was just so freaking good. We follow the brother of Rhett from the first book also, and he has a son and he's a single dad and he needs a nanny, and so we meet Willa, but their meet cute, if you could call it that, doesn't go that well, and it ends up being a coincidence that they had run into each other right before Willa was to be interviewed. The single dad trope usually isn't really for me all that much. Like, I don't swoon over it, but this one I would swoon over for days. It was so steamy. Their banter was so hilarious. They have this dislike to love thing going on too, but they can't deny the chemistry between them. There's also a little bit of an age gap situation. Forced proximity again, because she ends up being the nanny, and there's just so many cute moments and fun moments between Willa and his son. You really start connecting with the whole team of characters, and then the next book is coming out soon as well, and that one I'm really excited for. It's going to be childhood friends to lovers, but also she's already married, getting married to another man, so I'm very excited for that one. We're moving on to the next book I would put on the Goodreads Choice Awards list, and that is Funny Feelings. I feel like this one is very original because we're following a girl who wants to be a stand-up comedian, and she ends up doing this tour of comedians, except she has to fake date the manager in order to have this work out for her. So it's another fake dating one, and it is so much fun. We also have single dad again in this one. We also have some representation because his daughter is hearing impaired, so there's that element to the story as well. And do not let the cover fool you, it is a steamy one. Speaking of steamy, let me just get into the more steamy ones. So I would definitely pick Sarah Kate to be on this list because her Delicious Players Club series that has come out this year, multiple books have come out this year, and they all could be on this list for me because these books are so delicious. And a lot of these have some really good mental health representation in them, even though they are so steamy. Like, these are on the very steamy side of things, but they still had that plot there and that heart that I like to see in my books. So we first start out with Praise. That's an age gap romance, but I liked the next one more because it was step sibling trope and it was juicy, okay? And then the third one is MMS, so that's fun. And then I haven't read Mercy yet because I'm slacking, but I'm sure that one's amazing as well. I don't know, if I had to choose one to be on the list, I would probably choose Eyes on Me. So in Eyes on Me, we follow Garrett and Mia. Mia is his stepsister, and she's actually a cam girl. And one day Garrett discovers her because he goes on the website and then he sees it's his stepsister, and he should just immediately close the laptop, shut it down, but he doesn't because he has this pull toward her, and then she's always had a crush on him, so there's that element there. And then she feels like the guy that she's talking to, she knows really well and like has this connection with on a mental level too. Turns out it's him, you know, so she's like, why do I feel like I know you so well? So it has that fun element where it's like she doesn't know that it's him, and then he's kind of like keeping it from her, which is the drama, right? So it was just so much fun. And we also have an element to where they're going away to this cabin, and it has a sort of fun like summery vibe to it, like going off in the summer to the cabin up north or whatever. I'm from Michigan, so up north, baby. That's where I imagine cabins are. Going to another steamy taboo romance. This one is a newer release by QB Tyler. What Was Meant to Be. This book, I haven't talked to y'all about this book yet because I haven't made a video in ages, but this is one of my recent reads. It's so freaking good. I was shook to the core. So this one is so steamy and just hot and just so forbidden. So it's father's best friend trope, age gap, and also like she's taken by another man and he wants her. Shut up. Shut up. So we follow Whitney and JP. Whitney is engaged to another man, and that's kind of the setup of the book. We start off with JP, or Jacob, finding out about her being engaged. A number of years after he'd already left her life, he had decided that he was gonna run away from her after they had this whole fling, or not even a fling, a romance with each other, and he didn't want to deal with the consequences or tell his best friend because obviously that would cause problems. So he ended up just fleeing and moving away. And then she had to pick up the pieces. You know, she's heartbroken, finds a new man. It's never the same as when she was with JP. They had like this chemistry together, and you get to see that via flashbacks, and it is so good because he ends up obviously like wanting to come knock her door down, trying to get her back because he's like, you can't marry another man because I'm the man. I am the man. So it is so juicy. You have to read this one, y'all. You got it. I just think we should have some more taboo flavor on the Goodreads Choice Awards. You know what I mean? We have all of the traditionally published, you know, illustrated covers vibes, but where's the spice? Where is the flavor, the seasoning? I do love a lot of the books on Goodreads Choice Awards. I'm just being dramatic, but like Delilah Green Doesn't Care, amazing book, love to see it. Do I think Kiss Her Once for Me should have been on there too? Yes. Yes, I do, because why is the kiss curse on there and not Kiss Her Once for Me? If you want to have a holiday romance, swap those. Swap those. Thank you. Anyway, let's move on to the next book, but definitely read What Was Meant to Be before the end of the year. It might be on your top 10 list. Just saying. The next one we have is Everything for You. This is a slow burn enemies to lovers male romance where we have some sports action going on. They're on the same team. One is a captain and one is the rising star. We also have this grumpy sunshine vibe going on, and I was pretty surprised that we didn't have one of Chloe's books on here this year. I know there's one coming out that's called like Two Wrongs Make a Right. I'm really excited for that one, but I really like how these ones always have some representation in them. So in this one we have anxiety rep and chronic pain representation, and we just love to see it. It's great. And we also have that tension build up because they are enemies. We also have the grumpiness. It is just stunning. Then we have one that I'm actually shocked wasn't on the list because it is traditionally published and you would think that it would be on the list. I feel like it was pretty popular and it had ace representation, which we don't find a lot in romance books, and that is The Romantic Agenda. Anyway, we follow Joy. She is basically in love with her best friend, but he's dating another girl. He invites her to go up to this getaway with her, and she ends up fake dating this other guy named Fox, and she ends up kind of catching some feels and seeing maybe she was meant to be with this guy all along. I was just pretty surprised by this not being on there, just because it was a big deal in the community to have that asexual representation, and it had pretty good reviews. I think it had like a 3.9 average rating on Goodreads. And lastly, I would have liked to see Kennedy Ryan on the Goodreads Choice Awards because stunning storyteller, and I haven't read this one yet, so I feel kind of weird putting it on this list, but that is Before I Let Go. I am reading it soon, but I feel like it also couldn't have been on the list because of the cutoff date. I feel like it might have came out after they could have been nominated, but I would just love to see Kennedy Ryan on the list because she is an immaculate writer. Her books are so full of feelings that are so real and raw. And so that's what I have to say. I haven't read this one yet, but I do know that it is a divorced couple. So it's a second chance romance where they have a lot of that past trauma that they shared together. And I don't know what it is. I know that it's probably pretty serious, either like a miscarriage or maybe something else, but there is something going on where they just broke when they went through it. They didn't come together. They actually split apart. And so there's that pain there, but they still have that chemistry, and I just can't wait to read it. I know it would be worthy of an award, so I'm gonna stick with that one. But those are the books that I would put on my Goodreads Choice Awards. Let me know down below if there's one that you think I should be reading immediately, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!